because of Special Olympics, athletes are doing great things every day. I always say this every day, we're a big, goofy, happy, silly family.
Yes, she ain't wrong about that, cause one time we did this improv event and Monique said she's never gonna work with me again cause I got everyone laughing and I did something silly.
It's family, it's silly, it's goofy, sometimes you have to laugh. It's important when you're differently able because it gives us an outlet. We feel like we're judged every day because we're labeled. Even though I have a disability, yes, I have a learning disability, yes, people have autism, yes, people have Down syndrome, but that doesn't mean that we're not human. We have voices, we have feelings, we have hearts.
Without this organization, I will never know what family means. I will never know what leadership means, and I was pretty sure we'll never know how to tell my story and how to explain to everyone that opportunities are not limited by our disabilities.
Besides track, I coach track as well. I play flag football, the only girl on the team, and I just recently picked up 3v3 basketball. I love coaching because it's different. It's something that I always wanted to try, and since I was an athlete myself, I can relate to the athletes that I'm coaching.
So the sport that got me started in Special Olympics was soccer. That's because my tall size and Bigfoot, aka the Intimidator. But the sports I compete in now are, get this, cycling, soccer, basketball, alpine skiing, swimming, and tennis. I'm involved in it, I feel like almost every day, and I love that.
I started before even Special Olympics started. 1967. I'm a pioneer. You're talking to a real pioneer. I'm still competing, and I'm doing bowling, which is my favorite sport, followed by bocce and torch run. Being an athlete leader is a dream of mine. It means that I want to help other people.
I wouldn't be a leader without Special Olympics helping to teach me the skills to listen and encourage my fellow athletes for all that we do in sport. But being a board member, it's really cool getting to help make decisions and share my input on behalf of my fellow athletes.
I know exactly when I became involved. It was January of 2011. I had just moved to Maryland as the general manager of WBAL TV, and that was the official moment of my indoctrination to Special Olympics is my first plunge. It's not a partnership. It's not one of our charitable things that the station just likes to do. This is a true friendship. So Jim calls me. He's telling me about the Founders Award. I'm like, well, that's a really nice thing. Like, what a great thing to do. And all of a sudden he's like, yeah, you're the first recipient. I'm like, what? I thought, that's pretty cool. We're not in it for awards by any means. So it makes it all the more special when it catches you off guard like that.
Dan is the perfect recipient for this award. He's just a cool guy. So this cool note, I just found on my desk a couple of months ago. Dan apparently came by and he wrote, "Adam, you are a rock star. Dan."
We have the gift of time to give each other in life, and that 3 seconds that it took me to type that or write that letter, and it was that valuable to that individual. This has nothing to do with just me. It's all about the athletes at that moment and what that meant to Adam. So to hear that that letter meant something to him and that it's extraordinary and it's a keepsake for him, that's worth its weight in gold. I think what was started here in Maryland for Special Olympics was a seed, and that seed has germinated and it continues to grow. And our promise is that the legacy that they will leave behind is going to continue to grow and grow.
This is Ed Mitchell, that's John Wrigley. Tom Karski is my name, and the three of us are the founders of Special Olympics Maryland.
I met Tom Karski at the '69 Mid-Atlantic Special Olympics, and Tom did a great job raising funds for Santa Claus Anonymous. I said, I'd like for you to raise funds for us. John over here was my mental health chairman in the Maryland JCs. And I said, John, I'd like for you to be volunteers. And I took care of the operations. So that's how the Maryland Special Olympics basically got started.
It was just word of mouth and just an explanation of just what we were doing. We had contacts. The contacts were through organizations like American Legion, Kiwanis clubs, you name it.
Well, let's see. I was in charge of getting hamburgers. And I can remember that at the time, Gino Marchetti, who was a famous football player, and Alan Amici was equally famous for the Colts, owned a whole series of fast food operations. And I befriended Art Donovan, who was also a Hall of Famer. And I went to Art and I said, Art, I need to get these hamburgers. He said, you be here Friday afternoon. He said, I'll have Amici and Marchetti here. So I go there Friday, and sure enough, I get invited to the back room. Well, their idea of having a meeting was to have 2 cases of Schlitz sitting on the floor. You know, I gave my pitch. In the end, Amici says to Gino Marchetti, well, what do you think? He said, yeah, let's give this guy the 2,000 hamburgers, and we got to throw in the rolls, and we got to throw in the condiments, and yeah, you can pick them up at Perry Parkway or whatever it was.
It took us a week for registration, and all we're doing is all at my house. And in turn, we're working on all night up to 4 o'clock in the morning, putting a 50-yard dash together and a standing long jump. And we get to registration, and we can't find the standing long jump. Where is the standing long jump? Nobody can find it. We finally found it. It was under my coffee table in my living room.
2 months later.
I don't believe that I really had a harder day in 23 years. I had a good team working with me, and we resolved every problem that we had. There was nothing that stopped us from doing anything. I mean, if we wanted to raise some type of money to do something, we did it. If we wanted to get a certain amount of athletes involved in a certain sport, we did it.
We made sure that when they walked away that day, they understood what Special Olympics was about. That, you know, if there's a legacy, you look at it and you say, gee, well, we did 600 or 700 kids the first year, and maybe we got to the 1,100 after the 7th or 8th year. I mean, when you can reach out and touch 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 kids, and I keep calling them kids and I shouldn't, but you know, it's really a milestone when you've done that. And you've really got an accomplishment, because the same principle never changed. It's always success built on success.
We thank you so much for opening the door for people with special needs. People think just because we're labeled disabled, we can't do anything. We're proving people wrong every day.
Awesome.